Hola, audiencia! Oye, dímelo, network, like Jason talks.
That was good.
Uh,
That's pretty good.
uh, welcome to Oye Cinema Club. This is a great week because it's my turn, and I picked the movie Guava Island. And the reason I picked Guava Island, I will tell you once I introduce the host for today. We have JP Saruno,
So
Jason Eccles, El Dondino, and here's Steve Des. So, anywho, I picked Guava Island. It's an Amazon original that actually the film debuted at Coachella. So, Childish Gambino, aka Donald Glover, that's his musician name. He was headlining Coachella, and he decided, hey, I'm just gonna premiere this film in front of everybody, and it was received so well to the point that basically they landed things with Amazon and they streamed it there. But it also got streamed on YouTube and it also got streamed on Twitch as well. So this film has been in different places and stuff. And one of the reasons I picked this particular film is because I can relate so much to this film. Not just to the main character, which was what was the name? Demi, I believe.
Danny.
Deni. And I can relate also to some of the people that lived in that particular island village thing, the world they created there. And also, I picked this film because it's also a short movie, and it's very easy to digest, and people can consume it at any time, even if they wanted to watch it for a second time or something. But I personally want to know people's first thought. This was my second time watching this film, but I would like to know for people that might not have seen this movie ever before or wasn't in their radar, what they thought. So I want to go ahead and start with JP with that colorful background.
chill. Yeah, no, I've actually never heard of this movie prior to watching it, and it was just funny because my partner, she actually was familiar with it. So when I told her that, oh, we're gonna watch a about an hour long musical, she was like, oh, that's really different. Okay, why not? Then she saw it was Guava Island. I was like, hey, no, I heard of that one. And I mean, my first impressions, like, it was actually it's definitely not the type of films that we're used to watching here. It's a lot more lighthearted until the very end. But it's almost like a kind of it's a feel good kind of cheeky, what you expect from like a musical-esque film. And the first 10 minutes with the opening animations, like I almost thought for a second, like, is this movie animated? Because the beginning animation scenes, including the title sequence, were pretty long. Like I didn't expect them to be as long as they were, but like no, like from it's a nice film. It's very beautiful the first 10 minutes. And also it's almost like I'm sure I'll talk more about it later, but it was almost as if you were watching a literal moving photo album. Like the way that they shot it, I'm going to assume they actually did shoot it in film because it doesn't look digital at all. And so you kind of see the graininess and the actual substance of like how a picture is seen through physical film. And so it almost looked like, like literally a moving picture album, which I really enjoyed. Like it's a very beautiful movie to watch. Script wise, it was so and so, but like it didn't take me out of the picture. It was a happy surprise, to say the least.
Wait, what did you say was a happy surprise?
Oh, just the film in general.
The film in general?
Yeah, because I wasn't expecting it to be what it was. I actually didn't really know what to expect it. As soon as I saw that it was, Childish Gambino and Rihanna, I was almost expecting it to be like just an hour-long music video, which it was not.
Thank you so much, JP. Now let's go with the whitest person here, El Dondino.
Hey. Are you guys hearing the helicopters or are we good?
You're good. I don't hear
You're
anything.
good.
Okay. First time watching, but I had heard about it when it first came out, and I was wanting to watch it, and I don't know why I never got to it. So first impression is it reminded me of a Pixar film, like especially the cartoon thing. I was like, is this gonna be? Even though I had seen clips of it, I thought for a second like maybe the whole thing is gonna be a cartoon. It reminded me a little bit of is it Dia de los Muertos? No, what was the name of the cartoon Pixar did? Coco. Yeah, it reminded me a little bit of Coco and just
Just remember the fruit that you hate the most.
what?
I said, just remember the fruit that you hate the most.
Oh, really? Oh, no, but I like cocos, but I don't like coconut. I think there's a difference, and we can talk about it between the difference between coconut and cocoa. But speaking, I do have a guayaba in my head from the neighbor, but it's not right. But that smell itself is tantalizing. And yeah, so first impression reminded me of Coco, reminded me of a Pixar movie. And throughout, the colors were great, the music, you know, it's Childish Gambino, so that was really cool. And it also had a little bit like Footloose in it, you know, just like, you will not have a festival, no, you know, and he's like, okay, we should, why shouldn't we? So yeah, I would have liked it. It makes a lot of sense that you said it just got put on at Coachella or whatever. And then, because yeah, script-wise and all that is very simple, or you know, almost as a little bit of an afterthought to just like cool scenes, cool montages. So yeah, I enjoyed it as a first, first impression.
And Childish Gambino himself is here, ladies and gentlemen. So tell us about your film, first thoughts.
My initial impression was it did have a real Footloose vibe to it. I got that like pretty early on. It was also kind of felt like one of those music video movies. You know what I mean? But there was more movie to it. You know what I mean? Like it was definitely a musical. This is probably the first musical that we actually have reviewed on OED Below. I did like it. You know, I love Donald Glover. I think he's incredibly talented. He's one of those people that can do anything. Great writer, great comedian, great, you know, actor, singer, rapper. Just so wildly talented. And I really enjoyed the cast in this movie. I thought this thing was cast like really appropriate. And all the music was fun. You know, even This Is America, like that. The island, this is like the island version of This Is America, and it was really dope. Like I did the whole thing. I wondered when I watched it, I'm like, did this come from, what came first? Did this song come first, or did the movie come first? Like conceptual wise, like oh, let's pull this great song out and make a whole other music video for a thing, or like I wonder how.
So here's my theory. I don't have it super confirmed, but I believe that I heard that they were filming the movie, and while filming the movie, they also filmed those extra scenes that became the music video and all that stuff. Because even at the very end, while he's running, like that's referenced in the music video.
Yes.
So when you like watch this movie and then watch the music video, you kind of get like different layers.
Yeah.
By watching this movie, because the music video came out first, but they were in the process of finishing the movie.
Yes. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so I really dug it. You know, I dug the whole island vibe. I love that it was African island cast, or whatever you want to call it, however you want to label those people. But I just love to see all those brown-skinned people in a movie doing their thing and being happy on an island, for the most part, happy on an island. Yeah, so I mean, it was a fun movie to watch. I would definitely recommend it. It's not like super deep or anything, but there's definitely a message to it, and I enjoyed it.
So just to talk about the cast super quick, this movie was actually filmed in Cuba.
Oh, word?
Yeah.
Yes. So there was a lot of Cuban people there. That's the reason people weren't like Rihanna was there and Childish Gambino were there, and they weren't like freaking out or whatever because they legit didn't know who they were.
Oh, okay.
And
The Spanish part of the movie, right?
the Spanish part of the movie, and then I think other actors, like for the guy that played the kingpin of the island and people like that, those were casted probably in the United States and got brought there. But the majority of the people, even at the end of the film, if you watch all the credits, it says we want to thank all the people from Cuba that helped in this film, because it was just like literally a bunch of Cuban people, and because that's the reason you get those rich scenes where they like having displays on those old school radios, because legit that's over there. Like there's so much like old things that been getting preserved there because they're still not in the new age. They're still riding like vehicles from like the 80s and 60s, you know. That's how Cuba is currently, and it's been like that for like a long time.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, I remember another initial thought was it seemed like a longer Atlanta episode in a different universe. So like if his Atlanta character was born in like Cuba or another island, it just seemed like an episode
What made you feel that way?
Because he wasn't like a loser type, but he was struggling artist and trying to basically swim upstream and his interaction with the different people, with the kids and stuff like that. He was well respected. At the same time, clearly people wanting to take advantage of him and the situation. So
It is the same director as
right.
Atlanta, Hiro Murai.
And it's part of, written. The idea is a bunch of them, but the writing credit goes to Donald Glover's brother for like the script.
Yeah, but the original story is actually Donald Glover's, but it got adapted to a screenplay by Donald Glover's brother.
So yeah, it just seemed again, it's all the same kind of artists that are behind Atlanta TV show that it just kind of felt like story-wise, it could easily be his character in Atlanta that has to go through this kind of day. But that was just my initial part of my first impression.
Now, one question I wanted to ask was there one particular song that resonated really with you or that hit you in like an emotional or string chord of yours while watching the movie?
I mean, there's a lot of good music in the movie, and it reminds you that like how talented, Donald really is. I mean, like a lot of great. I mean, even him playing the guitar and all that jazz. Like, wow, this dude's really doing the thing. Um, for me, I would still have to say "This Is America" just because of how how strong that song was when it originally came out. Like that song kind of stopped the world for about 5 minutes, and everybody like, let me see what everybody's talking about, and that thing went viral super fast. So I would say that. Although there's a ton of beautiful music in the movie, for my buck.
Yeah, it's hard to not be as soon as that beat starts for that "This Is America" to not also have in your head the "This Is America" video, right? Like that song hit right key. I think it debuted at SNL, and like that very night or whatever, he dropped the music video. It was something like that. So I mean, it's a very impactful song. So see it also. It's like let's look at it in a different light, and it's still very powerful, right? Because this time, kind of like in a musical, there's dialogue that leads up to it. So basically, that his whole point of starting at the port and then having that conversation with one of the other guys, and it goes into it, like it just adds more meaning to me. That can then really tie in with the immigrant story, right? Because This Is America, it's very much you know, African American plight and all that. But now you're seeing it in the Guava Island, and it's like, yeah, look at the immigrants and how that is also somehow affected. So that's got to be one of the more powerful songs, I feel like, in the past few years. But I love any kind of um, there's a lot of drumming, a lot of beats. I like a lot of that. It takes me back also, you know, to Paraguay, and so yeah, I thought the music was overall beautiful.
I think the one for me, it's weird because I honestly don't remember the lyrics to it at all because I was kind of still like focusing on the film. Was it's right when Don Glover's character's dad, Deni, goes back to the radio after meeting Red Cargo, right? And you know, we find out that Rihanna is pregnant with his child, and we still don't know if the festival is still going to go on. And so the song that you hear when you listen to it, it's almost like a jab at Red Cargo. They're saying that some men won't change and some things won't change, but you still gotta live it up. And you know, it's still in a very solemn type of mood where you're thinking, oh, like he's dissing on him, but is he gonna give up and say like the festival's not gonna happen? Because you know, it's such a sad sort of sounding song. It almost sounds very defeatist. So I was like listening really closely to that one, trying to find out. I was like, okay, what's gonna happen next? You know, like is this song gonna like be the thing to, you know, have his character give up essentially? And I think it's actually one of the only songs where you actually don't see Danny Glover's character at all while he's singing it. You only see it for a little bit at the song at the booth, but then everything else is just cutaways to people living their life at the island. You see people like listening to it. You see their radios, like how expansive his message is, and then finally at the very end, it's like, oh yeah, festival's tonight, so don't forget. So like, I think that one was the one where impacted me the most because it was probably the only time in the film where I was actually like in anticipation, like, oh, what's actually gonna happen next, you know? So I was kind of on edge for that particular song.
What about you, Steve?
So as far as like song goes, hilariously enough, I'm not gonna pick a Donald Glover song, a Childish Gambino song, because like watching it, I was like, oh my god, this dude like has pipes. He's taking so many singing lessons. Everything has paid off to have this moment, you know. But you can tell it's studio, you know, everything wasn't live necessarily. But for me, I really enjoyed the transitions that they added with the little drums and things like that. And I really, for some reason, especially in this second watch, like it really impacted me, the song that the little kids were singing. Not the first time where they are at the cathedral, but the second time when the Deni, the character, is already, you know, spoiler alert, is already dead, and they're doing like this massive celebration. Because at first you feel the emotion of like the sadness, but then it transforms into euphoria, happiness, just celebration. And to me, that was like a powerful moment in a way to like kind of do a callback to something, because it's a song we already heard, but now it's in a different context. And for me, that was like very powerful. Uh, so yeah, so I really enjoyed that song.
Yeah, that was a good number two. What about that Rihanna? Like, she's really coming along as an actor. Like, you know, usually when you see entertainers who aren't particularly good at acting step up and do it, you're like, all right, that's probably enough. We don't need to see any more. But she keeps making movies, and you know, dare I say, she's getting better. You know, with every film, like her acting is improving little by little. So I thought that was kind of interesting too, because at first I was thinking like, man, I do not want to see Rihanna, you know, flop around in this film for 60 minutes, you know, because it happens all the time. You know, you get a singer or an entertainer in there, and they really can't keep up. But I thought this was like one of her best things she's done.
Yeah,
I
for
I
certain.
I, I feel like the one of the reasons why that happened, especially with Rihanna, is because of how authentic this was to her, because she's from Barbados, and Barbados is a very poor island. Like yes, it's rich part like every place, but overall, it's a very poor island. So I think she can easily identify with that character that she was portraying, and that's the reason that, because her character didn't have like that many lines anyway. It was like very subtle, uh, at least from what I can recall and remember. And yeah, and I think like that mystique and everything, and then combining that with the island flavor that she already got, and that's like her essence. I think that's what made her like shine here. What were you gonna say, JP?
And I was gonna say like it was like I for sure like agreed, especially literally in the first like few minutes of the film, where it's literally just her doing a vocal performance. It's her doing voiceover, telling the story of the island. Like you could really get a sense like just from her telling it. It's like yeah, no, like sure the visuals did help, but I'm sure like it almost did sound like you find out in the end of the film it's literally her telling a story to a child, most likely hers and Deni's child. But like it did sound like a really nice story. Like someone is telling this grand story, and like the way that she just tells it is like it's like yo dang, it's a really good storyteller. Like I want to know more about this island, you know. So I think like that. I think that was her strongest performance, and you couldn't even see her do it. Like it's just her basically telling a story.
I actually agree with that. I thought the same thing during the intro. I'm like, wow, Rihanna, this is clearly her voice, and this is good acting. This is good voice acting because it really pulls you into the story like right away. So I agree with that. That's spot on.
That's what I was thinking. It was like a Pixar movie, right?
Mm.
Or even, all the Marvel movies, or a bunch of them have intro cartoon wise. I will also mention that again, it's very much like, oh yeah, this is just kind of a fun little musical thing. But if you look th- behind it, it's like there's a lot of messages in it as well. And like even at the beginning, the cartoons, the way they show the island, and then they strip away the stuff to just bring in, was it the silk or whatever the
Yeah.
caterpillar or something was, like that has happened all through, let's say, the New World, right? Because it's the Caribbean, the Americas, like, and it goes back to a book that I've been reading of the open veins of Latin America. And it's just like if you find a cash crop, that basically everything else is destroyed just for that one thing. And yeah, and this has been in every single culture, in every single island. Uh, Country in Latin America, and this occurs, has
And
occurred, and continues to occur, right? So I thought Rihanna adding to that brought a lot of oomph, if you will, and yeah, it just like seeing that. I wish the script were a little stronger, or better yet, I hope they expand on this, right? I feel like a lot of times Donald Glover or whatever, it's like Marvel, was he gonna be doing the Deadpool
Animated series.
animated series and all that,
Yeah.
and then they're like, no, you're too busy or blah blah blah, some bullshit reason, and he's just like, let me show people what I can do, right? I enjoy doing this, and I want to share it with people. So again, this kind of stories you don't see much, right? Especially like it's in Cuba and it's all this. So let's see more of it, right? Let's expand it. Why not be entertained and learn something, right? It's how many different ways can we share the message, and hopefully every time someone new can maybe learn from it or pick it up because they don't want to read a book, they don't want to watch the news. Well, what about music? What about a movie? What about a cartoon? At some point, a message can be hopefully put across to someone else. All right,
and
I'm off.
just
I'm off my soapbox now.
just piggybacking on what you said, basically I want to talk about the message of the film.
Yeah.
This film may have different messages for a lot of different people, but to me, the main message this movie wanted to hone, apart from promoting Donald Glover's catalog, uh, it was the fact of there's a very pivot. I think it happens the moment he gets to the docks. That's when like the real thing gets discovered. What's like the pivotal thing of this film, and he says we live in an island that's basically paradise. I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember the line, but we live in an island that's basically paradise, and we work so much we don't have time to enjoy it. And then someone else from the docks says, I'm going to go to America because I heard over there I can be my own boss, you know? And that's when Donald Glover Demi, in this case, he's saying that this is America. That even whether it's here or it's over there, you will be basically in almost the exact same situation, that you're going to be overworked and not going to have time to enjoy what you have. And to me, that was the main message of this film, in my opinion. But I want to know what you guys thought was the main message of the film, and also what you guys think about that I just said.
What you think, and then you can think what you think about what we think about what
Yeah.
you think.
Yeah, and then we do the thinking of everybody thinking about thinking each other.
There's so much thinking right now. I don't know why I did that voice.
Don Corleone?
Yeah, right. There's so much thinking right in the summer club. But no, I actually do agree with that. I guess like the way that I thought is literally almost just someone paraphrasing about the whole like we live in paradise and but we don't get time to really enjoy it. That's kind of like what I thought was kind of the point of the movie, is that like you gotta just like live life while you still can, because like it's funny because like that at the end of the film he technically does get what he wants, but he's unfortunately not there to be a part of that, you know. Like he even jokes about it. I was like if you come to the festival, just come 1 hour late for work. Everyone's gonna do it. It's whatever. And even the Kingpin guy, like he was gonna try to stop him just for that 1 hour. Oh, people are not. I don't want people to show up late. And he fucking murked him because he didn't want people to show up late. And then nobody showed up to work because you know, like they're not only celebrating Deni's life, but they're also celebrating their lives. It's like clearly the second day of the festival because no one's mourning. They're celebrating a life that was lost, you know, and they're deciding to live their lives instead, kind of to expand on him. That's kind of like what I felt was the message of the movie, is like live life while you still can, you know. And like, I'm sure it's a bit more complicated than that because they're literally working at the hands of kind of an oppressor, you know. So like, it's not as easy as that. It's easier said than done. I feel like that's kind of like the message of the movie, is like to live life, you know.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would also agree that the ideal or the message of the movie is to enjoy life, and sometimes you gotta like you can work hard, but you know what's the point of all that work if you're not going to actually live? Because you know what are you working for? Are you working for a living, or are you working for a death? What's the end goal here? So yeah, I do believe that you know that line that he says about you know this is America right now. It's the same situation. That is what the movie's about. I think it's also about. Um, I think the movie's also about like capitalism as well, and like maybe like a small way, because it's like this guy is so capitalistic. It's always more, 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 more. When is it ever enough? You know, and to what end? And you're going to kill this guy because he wants an hour off of work. Ultimately, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, he's like settles for an hour off work so that they can celebrate their lives. You know, it wasn't like he was trying to form a union. You know, he was
Well,
just.
that comes next.
Well, yeah, maybe. Like this guy, people are listening to him. He's organizing
And
like
my bad. Just to piggyback from what you said, remember that line that when he goes and see, well, he doesn't goes and see him. He gets kidnapped to go and see the Kingpin guy, and basically, Deni is saying like, how can you know what's best for the people, you know? And it's the same thing about like people that rule nations and whatever. How can one person know what a bunch of individuals want, you know?
Especially
And
of the people.
yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to add that. You can keep going.
And he wasn't interested in what the people wanted. He was interested in fulfilling, you know, the demand that he needed to keep his, you know, factories and stuff open.
Mm-hmm.
So he was only out for himself, you know.
And did you guys get my bad? I'm just like, before I forget, did you guys get the bird metaphor?
Oh yeah.
What was the bird metaphor?
Because the guy literally has birds in cages.
He had one bird in a cage, and then he saw him before he got murked. And then at the very end, he had a bunch of other birds in cages.
Oh yeah, I didn't peep that.
I got it almost immediately just from Maya Angelou's book. You know, I know why the cage bird sings, so it made me think of that, which, you know, is a great book if you want to read something.
If you want to read something.
Yeah, if you're interested in good African American voices, Maya Angelou is a pretty good one to check out. So I noticed the birds and the fact that, you know, right before he gets it, you know, there's a bird right there as well, and it's the blue bird. Coloring was very important, the blue and the red.
And it was the only bird at the time that he had in a cage.
Yeah. Well, it was a different room, though. I will say that. Hold on, helicopter. Time.
Hold for sound.
Game on.
Yeah, the movie had some pretty deliberate symbols in it. I thought some pretty good symbols. And that's one thing that, like, I try to always look out for in movies. Like, you know, a really good movie will have, you know, some symbols in it that don't tell the whole story, but, you know, kind of like let the audience in on with some, what do you call it? Just some clues, as it would be. It should be like that.
So, what was your guys' favorite characters?
My favorite character was the girl who worked, the comic relief, the girl who worked in the shop with Rihanna. What's her name?
Princess Surrey?
Yeah, Princess Surrey.
The one that started dancing?
Yeah, Latiti, whatever her name.
The one who had the kid.
You know who I'm talking about.
And kept yelling at the kid.
Letitia Wright.
Yeah, that's the one.
Anyways, Yara was her name in the movie, Yara Love, and yeah, I think I like her the best. She's always entertaining to watch. How about you guys?
I think almost by default that I was actually a fan of Donald Glover's character Deni, because you get to, like, it's so weird because, like, he is the main character, but he almost, you know, unintentionally acts as, like, the everyman for the audience, because this is gonna sound so weird. One of the only negatives that I had for the film, which I'm sure they couldn't get around, was the fact that he and Rihanna kind of stuck out, like compared to the rest of the ensemble, because you could tell that, you know, oh, they're actually most likely from where they're from, like in this island. Everyone has an accent, everybody can talk in Spanish, and they're the only two that don't. And there's even one scene where someone does talk to them strictly in Spanish, and you could kind of tell that Deni probably has no idea what the hell she's saying. But like he interacts with so many characters, and each interaction is like you could, like, it's almost the same. It's always from a positive outlook, but he has to cater to how he reacts to each person for that positivity, like with the children, even the coworkers in the warehouse before the "This Is America" number, and like Donald Glover, like he finds kind of like a mix for Denny's character and also Childish Gambino, because you see, like, as soon as he's performing, you see Childish Gambino come out, but it's almost a marriage of the two, and I couldn't help but like just kind of like be intrigued and enjoyed that. So I think he was kind of my favorite character in the film.
I would agree also. He was my favorite. Yeah, even though like it seems at the very beginning when the story was happening and the first kind of song was happening, he had a little bit more of an accent, and I feel like at some point there was a shift of, and I don't know again when in what order this was filmed or whatever, but there was definitely like him dropping off in the accent wise, but I feel like he's got such great control of his body and his reaction. His like eyes especially say a lot.
Yeah.
And his facial expressions, that it's, yeah, I really enjoyed him, because even when he's not speaking, he's kind of always at attention, right? And is always like an active listener. And yeah, so, but then again, that's me also knowing that I'm watching Childish Gambino, and I know what to expect. So it definitely, it's one of those that if the movie was longer and we got to see other people, maybe I would feel differently. But just for 1 hour, it's just like he's very engaging, and
Yeah.
I enjoy that.
I personally liked, of course, Childish Gambino's character because it's focused on him. But I have to give street cred to the little kids, man, that robbed them in the beginning.
Hey,
That was a good scene.
Didn't that like remind you of like City of God? When those little kids came out, I was kind of unsure what sort of movie I was getting into. I'm like, oh man, are these like, is this for real? Are they really robbing them? And then when I saw the rapport, I like, oh okay, it's still like very much a family, community, friendship village. No one's gonna kill anybody, but it was interesting, and those kids were great. I agree.
But yeah,
of the little kids that robbed me in Paraguay. So thanks a lot, Donald Glover. I wish I could have jokingly gotten away. I did think it was great. I mean, they had a electric drill that was just wrapped around. It's not even plugged in.
It's not even a cordless drill. Like, yo, bro, that ain't plugged.
and they were just going off the tip of like, oh, you sing in the radio, you must have money.
Yeah.
Now, what was your least favorite character?
Least favorite?
I'll go first, since I already got it.
Yeah.
I hated the Kingpin, man. I think that guy, I mean, he had the build, but I don't think he was as intimidating. Because even at the end, was he the one shooting him?
No.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't tell, actually.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. I was like, is that him with a clown mask on? Or?
I feel like the guy shooting him had long hair.
Oh, okay.
I feel like it was a skinny guy.
Yeah, I just think that...
We all saw different shooters.
No, I feel like you have a long hair.
Oh, okay. Go on.
Yeah.
He did have long hair, but I couldn't tell if it was part of the mask.
It may be.
I just think the guy played the part like a little bit too nonchalant. I guess.
I think his approach is more stoic, like a stoic bad guy. Because it's weird because I've seen the guy in one role where he was like a good guy, but every other role he's played like he's either an asshole or the villain. But he plays it almost the same, where it's just cool, stoic, not too aggressive, I think that's just his style of acting.
Yeah, I was unsure when I was watching it. I did consider it though, because to me it felt like he was trying to be like the charming politician a little bit, smiling and whatnot, which is fine for a villain to kind of play the opposites. Um, I mean, I guess if I had to choose a character, I would probably also say that's the guy I dislike the most because
He's
he's
the
the
bad guy.
villain,
Yeah.
but not necessarily for his acting or his choices or anything like that. I feel like everybody was kind of likable. That's a hard question for me.
Yeah. It's weird because like I don't think I have. I kind of agree that his was probably maybe the weaker performance out of like the whole ensemble, but it's a very small ensemble, and I can't even say that he's my least favorite character either, because I think it's more of a writing issue that this film is so short that they kind of glance over a lot of stuff. Like if they were to have expanded upon his story, because I felt the same way. Like I didn't think he was threatening at all, and I didn't see Denny's death coming at all because I thought I was like, okay, we never saw this level of violence in like with them. I didn't expect him. Like of course like any authoritarian rule, you see people with guns literally in their warehouse. Like, okay, if someone were to fucking leave or break a rule on the job, they might get fucking shot. Like they did set that up, but they didn't set up like the legitimate threat that someone really could get murked here. So I think I don't know. I don't have a least favorite character. My only least favorite part of the film is that um you you wish you kind of want more out of it, but because of the time constraints and how much they wanted to put in less than an hour, I don't think they could do it.
What was you guys' favorite scene? While you guys think, I'll go first then. My favorite scene was the scene where he's with Rihanna and they're by that bay and they have the steel drums. Because at least to me, the way that Donald is dancing and the lyrics that he's saying and stuff, that represents more like, at least to me, represents divine femininity. And like Rihanna was playing more of like the masculine, because he was like very expressive, like I love you, like he's just pouring his feelings out fully and dancing like nobody's watching and not giving a fuck. And to me, that scene represents that dynamic of like it could be a guy playing divine feminine, it could be a girl playing the masculine part. So I really like that particular scene.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
also a good scene.
question with that. Sorry. In that scene, did he go all Drake and give all the money to the mom with the kids?
Holy
Not all,
shit! If he
not
did,
not so not all the money, but I saw him giving some of it because the kid went like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah. Okay, so we don't know if it
Yeah.
was all, but he definitely Draked before Drake or something. Can we say that he was giving out money to people before
No,
Drake?
I'm pretty sure while filming this stuff, they were like handing out some money to people there because like legit is like people are really poor with it.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be funny though if he like straight up just because I assumed the same thing, like he just gave him like 100 or two to the kid. But if he gave that kid the whole 10,000, holy shit. That'd be great. Oh man. Oh, I was literally gonna bring up that scene too, but like I'll talk about another scene. But I thought it was great about that scene as well, because like in that scene Rihanna does literally have all the power in that moment, because it's so funny because like while Deni is like trying to court her and dance, it's funny because like it has a double meaning because he's literally dancing around the situation as well. Because he never tells her the truth of like why he feels kind of off, in that moment. And I don't think he had decided yet whether or not he was gonna cancel the festival, like yes or no. Like he hadn't decided until he met up with the kids, which is like the scene after that. But like No, that was a really good scene. I think my second favorite scene then would have to be the end, like literally when you see everyone dancing in celebration of Deni's life, and because it's fine because like it's basically this, it's the same scene as the festival, but you get to see everything in the light. So you see like it's literally the first time that you actually get to see the beauty of the silk. Because I was even while I was watching the movie, I even told my partner while watching it while they're in the warehouse making the silk, I was like, that silk looks like shit. Like it's faded blue, it's gray. Like I was like, this is what they're making. This is the silk that's worth dying for. Like this is stupid. But once you see it in the light, in the sun, being worn as it's supposed to be, even like Rihanna wearing the blue veil, like it's. I didn't think you could have a blue veil as pretty as it was. Like it was really good. It was like wow, like you could actually see why, in the beginning, they claimed that every man who saw this silk fell in love with it. And I guess it kind of represents like, oh, that's because, they back then they gave it life. And so in celebration of life, they're giving life to the thing that they fucking slave over, and it's this blue silk.
Yeah. I will add, just because you talked about that scene of the throughout the movie, during the day, he's running from place to place. There's no one in the streets except old people or little kids, right? Because I think that goes back to like everyone's always working. Like no one's able to, even when you look at the radio, it's always like around people doing other activities, right? So whether it's washing clothes in the stream or, so that makes a huge impact when all of a sudden it's like, yeah, at night you celebrate, and then look when you celebrate during the day, right? Because throughout the movie there was no one in the streets except him running and running into the kids. Yeah, I don't know if I have those. I think him singing to Rihanna on the beach with the steel drums. I think that's when my idea of it reminding me of Coco specifically came out, and just like it's very much the trying to again literally dance around a situation, or it reminded me of instances in Coco when that happens. Yeah, I don't know. They're just moments. Again, the "This Is America" thing, just like, and yeah, though I feel like it's "This Is America" moment because of the lead up in conversation with what "This Is America" song then has to say, and just the fact that I'm a I'm a sucker for choreographed dances and dislocating movements. Because I'm really good at it myself. So yeah, if I can see it, give me a call, Donald. No, so I feel like that, and then the beach song to her, and then the celebration of life in the morning are like the three pinnacle points of the movie for me.
I like there's a scene in the beginning of the movie. It kind of reminded me of Beauty and the Beast, like how she's like running to the library or whatever she's trying to get to, and they're like, "Hey, Belle, hey, Belle," ba, 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 ba. Like it kind of felt like that because it was sort of world building in the very beginning. It's like, all right, here's the island, here are the people and the characters and the colors, and here's all the textures you're gonna play with for the next hour, and here's your main character, and everybody kind of knows him and loves him and has a relationship with him, and he's about to take you on your journey. So run with him through these narrow streets of Guava or whatever. I really like that just because it was set up so nice, and it just moves along at such a good pace. Before we start seeing them, grind away in the workplace and all that. Uh, but the scene that Steve's talking about, the steel drums and the beach, that was a pretty scene too. But I really dug how they constructed the world building. I like that a lot.
Okie dokie. Then I guess it's time for final thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. Unless someone wants to add anything else. No. No? Okay.
Let's start it up then.
Alrighty. So final thoughts. Let's start with. Let's do it backwards this time. Let's go with Jason Eccles.
So my final thought. I dug the movie. I would recommend it. I would highly recommend it to Childish Gambino fans or Rihanna fans.
I highly recommend it to Childish Gambino
Childish
to watch.
Gambino, check it
Yeah,
out.
you should check out the movie.
I think you might like it.
Yeah.
I dug it. It's not necessarily the type of movie that I need to see again, but it's I mean, I'm not frowning on it or anything. It's a good flick, man. And there's a really good message in it. And it's I think it's the kind of film that has come out at the right time when people need to see it. That brown people need to see it and island people need to see it, but also just people need to see it because I really do believe there's a strong like capitalistic, socialistic message in it.
Yeah. More capitalist than socialist, I think.
Yeah,
message.
right, for sure. But there's a dichotomy between the two. It's just like, hey man, give people a day off. Jesus, what's the big deal?
How about you, Dino?
Yeah, I would watch some of the musical parts of it again for sure. But yeah, there's no need to watch necessarily the in between, just dialogue part of it. I'm totally down to watch all the little musical parts, and if they're on in clips. I think, I remember it came out. I remember it was kind of a big thing, but I wish it were a bigger thing. Kind of like Jason talking about that people should watch it, people should see it, because again, it's like it's as simple as it is. It's rich with a lot of different messages, and not in the like brainwashing kind of way of messages, but just kind of like even you were talking about, Steve, of just like trying to enjoy life a little, right? And maybe it's because I watched it now for the first time after we've been in lockdown and in a bubble and social distance for so long, and seeing so many people so close together dancing that I'm like, oh my God, like, yes, we need to enjoy life a little instead of just, slaving away our own work or someone else's work just to be able to be a part of the system, right? So I really enjoyed it. It made me think again, yeah, a lot. It made me think a lot with history and stuff like that, and even plantation and slavery stuff that I have read in history. And again, they talk about, Maya Angelou even talked about it in her book, and like the only days off that they would get would be for church, right? And I think, but not even that much. So I think this was a way of showing, like music, art, all that can be a part of your day off, right? Or a part of your church, if you will. So I don't know. I again, for as simple as it was, I really enjoyed it. It makes me think of a lot of things that we need to do.
Thank you so much, Dino. How about you, JP?
Well, my final thoughts, like my only qualm with the movie, like my only negative about the movie is the fact that you don't get a lot of answers and you don't get a lot of like airtime for most of the story, but it's because of how short it is. So I can't really like fault it for that because I'm sure that was kind of like intentional, and I'm sure like they thought that this film was only going to be shown at the what was the festival again? The
Coachella?
Coachella. I'm sure they only thought that was going to be in Coachella. So I guess like putting that aside, it was a really like it was strange because like the movie had me up until the end, but then like it got me back again right at the end, like so it was weird because I actually thought I was not gonna like this film, but like literally the way that the film started and the way that it ended, it was both like very much like my favorite parts of the movie. It's just so, the animation in the beginning, it's so beautiful. Almost the story alone, that first like 5-10 minutes, I feel like if the movie was just that, I would have been okay with that because it was so beautifully done and it was so like great. And then the rest of the film, it's lighthearted yet serious, and it's just so visually appeasing and so visually beautiful. Like I wasn't expecting to like the look of the film, especially when you could kind of tell that it's a bit grainy and a bit like unpolished, but it kind of added it was almost the film's look was almost a character within itself, you know. And so like yeah, like it was a great surprise. Like if you have an hour to kill, like it's a short, simple story, but like it has almost all the beats of a good one. That's my only beef is that I wish it was a bit longer and I wish more stuff was explored. But for like how short the journey was, it was a pretty good journey, and I can't say that I didn't like it. So yeah, no, final thought, like I really did enjoy the movie, and I'm sure most, if you're musically inclined, you're gonna really love this movie. It's so great. Um, and like it's just visually beautiful, and yeah, it's a plus.
Heck yeah. So my final thought, I think it's a great movie, a terrific film. Something you can definitely watch with, your kids, with your parents, grandparents. Like, I think it's definitely a movie you kind of want to share with people. There's a great just conversation to have, a very short conversation, and it's just great. I love seeing film with that much brownness in it because there's not that much. If anything, they sprinkle a little diversity here and there, but they don't have a film like this, like representing people literally that I grew up with, those colors and those shapes and those sizes and those types of people. So I really enjoyed and appreciated. I resonate so much with Deni's character, and I also resonate with the character of the dude that was working in the dock and was like, life in America is better, and that's something that happens in so many countries, not the top potencies countries in the world like a China and Russia, but like the little countries in the Caribbean, places in South America, places in Africa, literally model what the United States puts out. So it's almost like when you travel to those places, you're going to like a little United States because they're basically copying what the United States does. It's kind of like monkey see, monkey does, The United States did this, now we do elections this way, So, and that happens a lot like that. What America has is such a big influence, like in the world. And I think really that's what has come with the whole kind of like thing with America. I mean, one series that you guys recommended to me was The Men Who Built America. And literally, if you see that series, you see that America was basically just nothing, just like any other place. And it wasn't until like these men came and essentially grabbed capitalism and cranked it to like 200 and essentially built this country. And still up to this day, it wasn't until like pandemic happened that we realized, or at least some of us realized, that we've been overworked, that we've been working way more than enjoying our actual lives, that some people have been losing their health just to keep up with bills, and that all this stuff has been happening all over the world and is only because of the whole like hamster wheel situation that we didn't even know we program ourselves into like having. And I hope that in the near future, all of my friends, definitely, but most people in general, get to have a better work-life balance, because life is not just about work. Life is not just about dollars. Life is really to enjoy it and create things and like do things. And this film is for me, is a proof that like with art, man, it just takes a dream, you know? You don't, like, this guy got 10 grand in the film, and he was like, man, this money doesn't mean anything to me. I just want to do this concert. I just want to have people have a good time. And sometimes I feel that exact same way. I'm not doing it because I want to make a quick buck. I'm like, I just want to make this art. I just want to make this movie. I just want to make this one thing. And that's what I really hope that we all as individuals get to, that we create things for the sake of creating and expressing ourselves in the world, and not just for the dollar, what capitalism puts us in our heads. But that's my final thought. Thank you so much, guys, for expressing your feelings and stuff about this movie. It was a great discussion. Oh my God, I'm getting a standing ovation by Jason.
Look at that.
Well,
Thank you
I
so
was
much.
going to say, Red Cargo, he's basically America. He's American. He's trying to get, he's your American dream right there, just shoving it down on everyone else. You know, work for me. And countries do copy America, you know, for whether it's democracy, voting, whatever. At the same time, America pushes it down countries' throats, right? So there's that balance itself, which I think is also underlined in the movie if you just look a little deeper. Yeah.
Yeah. So next movie, Jason, I mean, Dino with the slow clap. Next movie is actually JP's turn. JP, what's the next movie, brother?
Gosh, I feel like this one might be cheating, especially since I didn't get enough time to like think it through. So I'm just gonna literally go with my gut here.
I mean, you can also you can take your time, and if you pick something right now that tomorrow you wake up and go like, oh, I should have picked this other movie, you still got till tomorrow.
Nah, I'm gonna if I do second guess it, I'm gonna save it till the next round, because there was a film that I want to watch this round, but I feel like we got a thing going here, so I'm gonna pick this one. Although I do believe it might be cheating.
Wait,
so
what thing do you think we have going?
Oh well, right now, like because the next film that I want to suggest, it is by a Latin creator, and it is a musical. It is Lin-Manuel Miranda's Hamilton.
Okay.
I haven't seen it yet, so this will be
me,
good.
Me neither. Me neither.
Shit.
Never seen it.
You guys are either gonna love it or fucking hate it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I think I might hate it, but at the same time, was a Puerto Rican that did this, and yeah, and also I found out how he like kind of made that happen. He was like just on vacation and was reading about it, and was like, I want to do this, and then he just did it.
He read a book and he was like, this thing's gonna slap.
Well, he didn't know it was gonna slap that hard, but it slapped. Yeah.
It slapped.
Yeah, I would. The author of the book, I don't think would have ever imagined that his book would have ended up slapping that hard. Because, you know, he gets credited for it in the musical and all that. Ron Chernoff.
Mm-hmm. So
Interesting pick. I like it. It's a good pick.
So next week, the recording of Lin-Manuel Miranda's Hamilton.
Hamilton.
Yeah. I'm going to find my shot or something like that.
I'm gonna find my shot. It's actually the original song that ended up being edited, you know, into.
That's how much I know, guys. That's how much. But anywho, we'll catch you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, I'm JP Serno. Thank you for watching Oyedimo Network. Please click here for additional videos and don't forget to subscribe. That's our new theme song.